The western coast of Colombia is a haven for wildlife. A vast tropical rainforest carpets the region, where strange species found nowhere else continue to be discovered. The maze of the jungle canopy hides a wonderful world. And where the rainforest meets the sea sits a beautiful coastal habitat where life thrives both above and below the water. What has allowed this jungle to act as a playground of evolution for so many species? And what is there left to discover in Colombia's wild coast? During the late Cretaceous, the Andes Mountains were born. Thrusting upwards, they isolated a portion of the prehistoric Amazon, creating a haven for evolution. This region of cut-off jungle became the Choco. In this thin strip of land between the Pacific Ocean and the western Andes Mountains, a labyrinth of habitats endures. Unbroken and unexplored for hundreds of kilometers. Down the Andean slopes into lowland forests. Through twisted mangroves and out to rolling oceans. A vast abundance of life thrives, all thanks to one thing: water. This is the wettest place on Earth. Here rainfall is measured in meters, on average, over 13 every year. The result of all this rain is an exuberant tropical rainforest known as the Choco. It's early morning, and haunting calls resonate across the canopy. Red howler monkeys declare their territory to keep potential intruders at bay. Direct conflict would waste precious energy, so these howls are an important daily ritual. Males work in unison. An enlarged hollow bone close to their vocal cords amplifies their guttural calls. They can be heard more than 5 kilometers away, making them not only the loudest monkey, but also the loudest land animal on the planet. Groups spend their lives in the trees, eating their way through fruit and tender leaves. Muscular, prehensile tails enable them to stretch for food that would otherwise remain out of reach. Leaves are difficult to digest and aren't very nutritious. A special stomach containing bacteria helps break down the tough cellulose. This process can take several hours. It's no wonder red howlers spend more than 15 hours a day at rest. The northern Colombian Choco is the only place in South America to have both a Pacific and Atlantic coast. One marine giant takes advantage of the region's gentle Caribbean beaches. A leatherback turtle, the largest turtle on Earth. The rains have heralded her arrival. Drawn from feeding grounds thousands of kilometers away, she has traveled for months to nest on these beaches, where she hatched. As she leaves the water, her body, weighing almost a ton and perfectly adapted for life in the ocean, becomes unwieldy. Her prehistoric form has remained largely unchanged for over 100 million years. Leatherbacks are almost twice as old as the Andes themselves. Without water to take her weight, each lurch is a Goliath effort. She must drag herself past the high tide mark to lay safely. Excavating the deepest chamber of all marine turtles, her giant flippers become shovels. Heaving each ragged breath is labored. She will lay up to 100 eggs. 30% of these will be yolkless, fragile, and much smaller than the others. They will provide space for the turtles to emerge into when they hatch. One of the last acts of care before she leaves forever. Once she has deposited her clutch, she covers the eggs. This whole ordeal can last up to 2 hours. Exhausted, she returns to the ocean. These young will incubate for up to 60 days. Around 6,000 leatherback nests are constructed in the Caribbean Choco annually. It is one of the most important nesting sites on the planet. But the night is still young. Deeper in the jungle, a very different reproductive strategy takes place. The waning moon has signaled an explosion of activity. As the last drips drop from the treetops, male gliding leaf frogs parachute from the canopy. Spreading wide, they drag their large webbed feet through the air. Slowing their fall, they race to take advantage of the temporary pools of water below. A marathon becomes a sprint. It is the most energy-efficient way to travel through the trees. Though landings can still be tough. As more and more males arrive, they begin to call en masse, signaling to one another their presence. Soon the larger females follow in search of a mate. Outnumbered, they are buried under the advances of the eager suitors. Gripping onto the female's back, a position known as amplexus, this male has hit his mark. He clings to her like his life depends on it, though that doesn't stop the other's amorous intentions. Here, humidity can reach 100% almost every day. In such wet conditions, there is no need to take the leap to the pools below. Instead, they spawn on the smooth leaves, suspended up to 8 meters above the water. Protected in their gelatinous pockets from the predators in the pond below, they begin to change. What began as a small white ball soon becomes a wriggling mass. Burning fuel from the attached egg sac, they enter the most rapid period of growth in their lives. As their systems become more complex, exterior gills develop. Extending them, the tadpoles rotate to ensure they are as close to the surface as possible. In such claustrophobic conditions, these temporary structures absorb oxygen to maintain their growing forms. They begin to move more and more, gathering their strength. Exploding out of the egg, they slide and leap over their relatives to get to the pool of water below. A small leaf seems like a gauntlet to a tadpole less than a centimeter long. But like its father before it, it takes a leap into the great unknown. Falling 8 meters, the equivalent of a person jumping from just under 10 times the height of the Empire State Building. Whilst the tadpoles are safe for now, the leatherbacks have not fared so well. During the nesting season, turtle eggs often become exposed on the Choco's beaches. Opportunists waste no time. Eggs are an energy-rich luxury for the circling vultures. A banquet too good to pass up. Disputes break out as everyone wants their fill. It is a hard start for the leatherbacks. It is estimated that just 1 in 1,000 survive. But those that do will return to these ancestral beaches to reproduce once more. The rains that brought the leatherbacks here to nest are amongst the most frequent on Earth. And further to the south, in the dank forests of the Pacific coast, they never seem to stop. The Andes promote this wet environment. When they began to rise 65 million years ago, they changed the skies, forcing 3 jet streams to collide. Sweeping in from the Pacific, they merge. Fed by the forest, they become hot and heavy with moisture. Reaching the cloud forests of the western Andes, these aerial rivers rise, colliding violently with colder trade winds. Frequent, unforgiving thunderstorms batter the landscape almost every day. Shrouded in mist, these are the wettest forests on Earth. Over 23 meters of rain has been recorded to fall in a year. But for some, these storms are an opportunity. This constant supply of water allows plants to cover almost every surface. A carpet of moss moves through the undergrowth. Taking a lesson from its surroundings, the moss millipede has camouflaged itself by growing a garden on its hard carapace. It is endemic to the cloud forests of the southern Chocó. Over 400 plants can grow on one millipede. The older they get, the greener they become. If uprooted, 2 bright stripes on an otherwise black back would reveal its position to the jungle predators. In return, it acts as transportation, taking the plants on a journey to new uncolonized lands. With no eyes, it is completely unaware of its surroundings. Luckily this time, its camouflage has paid off. Millipedes were one of the first land animals to appear over 420 million years ago. Long before South America was even a continent. They skulk through the forest in search of decomposing vegetation. This introverted invertebrate is one of the recyclers of the rainforest. But other forest dwellers are a little more extroverted. Brilliant colors flit and complex calls echo through the trees. Colombia has more types of bird than any other country in the world. Over 1,800, nearly 20% of the world's species in less than 1% of its area. The diverse altitude and unending showers make the cloud forests where the western Andes and the Chocó collide amongst the most diverse in the country. Mannequins are the show-offs of the rainforest. They dance, sing, and clap to capture a female's attention. Of the 60 known species, half are found in Colombia. Found in the Choco, the club-winged mannequin has taken this to the extreme. Males congregate in loose leks and prepare to attract a mate, carefully selecting clear and well-lit branches. High-frequency chirps echo through the forest. And while singing is commonplace for most birds, these mannequins are the only species known to do so with their wings. Vibrating them over 100 times per second, twice as fast as a hummingbird's. They compete with males up to 25 meters away. It's a shouting match, and they're surrounded on all sides. To survive such a battering, his wings have had to adapt. Once hollow bones have become solid, whilst feathers have developed special ribs to produce violin-like vibrations. And while the cloud-shrouded mountains of the Choco have allowed an untold diversity of birds to evolve, this water world allows one group to thrive more than any other. Orchids. It is thought that Colombia is home to over 5,000 species, almost a fifth of all orchids on Earth. Breathtaking, they bloom in a myriad of forms, colors, and settings. Each river-shorn valley acts as an island. Each ravine hides the possibility of a new species. Drops turn to trickles. Rock faces become waterfalls. Soon the streams that flow down the rocky creeks like veins reach the heart of the Choco below. Orchids grow bigger and more extravagant as the temperature increases. The Coryanthus or bucket orchid has found its own island, forming a special relationship with the ant nests that hang from the canopy. Tended to by thousands of workers, its roots provide the nest with a framework on which to grow. And in return, these gardeners protect the orchid fervently from predators and provide it with nutrients from the food they collect. These ant gardens are the only environment on which it can flourish and bloom. Flowering for only 2 to 3 days of the year, there is little time to waste. Wafting its scent through the air, the tailor-made fragrance floats on the breeze. Gathering from a variety of sources, from orchids and fungi to rotting wood and leaf litter, male orchid bees can travel up to 50 kilometers in search of these aromas, concocting them into a perfume to attract a female. the bucket orchid is irresistible. A prized fragrance for the male to add to his collection. As more and more males approach, airspace becomes crowded. And this orchid has a hidden agenda. Drops fall from its twin pluridia, water-producing organs unique to these orchids. The bees stray closer and closer, hypnotized by the scent. Until they are caught in the flower's deceitful trap. Smooth, waxy walls give no purchase, and soapy water clings to his wings, causing them to become useless. Imprisoned in the bucket, the unwilling bee has only one escape. Struggling through the narrow, slippery tunnel, it passes under the orchid's reproductive organs, where it becomes stuck. Only specific species of orchid bee can pollinate this flower. Too large, and they cannot escape. Too small, and they pass through too easily. But this one is just right. A pollen sac becomes glued to its back. Drying his wings, the ordeal is finally over. He is so traumatized that he will not approach this flower again, preventing self-pollination. Instead, he unwillingly transports his payload to a new orchid in another part of the forest. Streams soon give way to powerful whitewater rivers, cutting through the impenetrable forest. They act as paths to the jungle's inhabitants. Jaguars are the largest cats in the Americas and pound for pound, the most powerful on Earth. Originally from North America, they moved south when the two continents connected. A great interchange of species occurred. These killing machines devastated the native life, unprepared for the arrival of such fearsome carnivores. Only the most adaptable survived. To the jaguar, the Choco's rivers are not only highways, but also obstacles to overcome. And the promise of a mate, or its next meal, makes crossing these winding waterways worthwhile. But another predator is on the prowl. Stealthily, he stalks the forest in search of prey. Jaguars are too dangerous to be on the menu. But what he is looking for is just as lethal. The high humidity of the Choco's tropical rainforest makes it a paradise for amphibians. Dart frogs hop through the leaf litter in search of their next meal. Brightly coloured, they stand tall amongst the leaves. These individuals have little to fear from predators. Their skin acts as a beacon, warning attackers to stay away. And with good reason. Dart frogs are some of the most poisonous vertebrates on Earth. Ravenous appetites enable them to survive. Extracting chemicals from the environment by eating insects, they build up a lethal dose. Scientists believe that ants may be the source of the terrible toxin. Seeping from microscopic pores, each frog contains around 1 milligram of the potent poison known as batrachotoxins. And though it may seem like a small amount, it is enough to kill over 140 people. But some still take the risk. To the Embera and Wunan tribes of the Colombian Choco, this toxicity is a resource. For centuries, they have harvested the toxin to tip their darts, giving poison dart frogs their name. One false move could end in convulsions, paralysis, and death. There is no known antidote. While the other two species used by the indigenous tribe die in the process of poison extraction, the golden dart frog is so virulent that the dart only needs to touch its back to turn into a lethal weapon. Each frog will be used for 2 to 3 darts before it is released. Once dry, he stores the darts in his quiver. They can remain lethal for up to 2 years if unused. But he has other plans. He must hunt to feed his family. An experienced hunter can strike down prey high in the canopy, over 30 meters away. Ancient people aren't the only ones to harvest a unique forest resource. Leafcutter ants spend their lives doing exactly as their name suggests. These pieces of foliage can weigh up to 10 times their body weight. Colonies contain up to 8 million individuals. Each group tasked with a different objective. worker ants set out to forage far and wide. Laying down a scent trail in order to find their way home. This pheromone is so powerful, just 1 gram would be enough to lay a trail around the circumference of the world. Only the freshest and most succulent leaves are harvested. Powerful jaws slice through the tough cellulose with ease. Once loaded, the ants head back to the nest. Surprisingly, the leaves aren't food. They're essentially a fertilizer used to cultivate a fungus. It's these mushroom-like spheres that the ants eat. Another group of workers is charged with maintaining this underground garden. Weeding out any parasitic fibers is crucial to the survival of the colony. Only the queen is capable of producing offspring. She can live for up to 20 years and lay more than 200 million eggs in her lifetime, most of which are destined to become workers. To date, around 30 separate roles have been identified. Each group sticks to the same job its entire life. Of all the numerous ant species in the world, only the leafcutters employ such a complex division of labor system. As the large rivers continue towards the Pacific Ocean, the lowland forests begin to transform. Freshwater becomes brackish, and aerial roots rise from the river's muddy shores. These are the Pacific mangroves of Colombia, part of the most important and pristine mangrove complex in the world. Over 2/3 of Colombia's mangroves are found on its Pacific coast. And 20% of these call Santiago National Park home. These are amongst the tallest mangroves on Earth. Their cathedral-like trees can reach over 50 meters and stretch to 3 meters in circumference. To support such towering structures, their vaulted arches sprawl outwards, creating dense, impassable tangles. Providing safe haven for the next generation of sea life, they act as the nurseries of the Eastern Pacific. But the resultant richness buried on the beaches here still attracts vast flocks of birds every year. This wild coast is home to 60% of the water birds found in Colombia. And in the Santiago region, the largest concentrations in the country are found. Their lives revolve around tides. And as the waves recede, shorebirds arrive to take advantage of the freshly stocked mudflats surrounding the mangroves. They swarm in their tens of thousands. Whirlwinds of wings wait in anticipation. But while these shores act as a nursery to millions, the waters that wash upon them are filled with deeper oceanic life. Approximately 20 coral species can be found in Colombia's rich Pacific waters. Volcanic islands rise from the ocean bed, encircled by an abundance of fish species. Predators take on all forms. Some have remained unchanged for millions of years. These waters also play host to one of the largest creatures on Earth. Humpback whales arrive every year to Choco's coast. Traveling here from rich feeding grounds in the Antarctic Peninsula, they complete the longest mammal migration on the planet. Taking around 130 days on a journey of over 8,000 kilometers, they come to give birth in the mangrove's sheltered coves and bays. A mother and her newly born calf. She protects her from the Pacific's strong currents. The calf has just a couple of months to grow big and strong before the arduous return journey to Antarctica. Her mother will make this journey every 2 to 3 years to give birth. In her lifetime, she could have up to 15 calves. Humpbacks aren't the only giants to grace the Choco's Pacific shores. The world's largest fish often competes for the ocean's rich pickings. Whale sharks can reach approximately 20 meters in length and weigh up to 34 tons. They survive on plankton, some of the smallest organisms in the ocean. Mouth agape, they sift around 6,000 liters of water an hour. Fine filters, called gill rakers, trap any creature over 1 millimeter wide. Unlike other species of shark that wave their tails to propel themselves, whale sharks are unique. Instead, they move their entire bodies from side to side. With a modest top speed of 5 kilometers per hour, these marine giants are one of the most gentle creatures on the planet. And the Choco's shores are the perfect whale shark paradise. From the open ocean to the Andes Mountains, life sweeps back to the Choco's wild coast on the wind. The very water that courses through the skies and down its countless rivers has driven this forest's mega diversity. An intricate network of habitats converges on Colombia's western coast. As a result, strange and unique animals found nowhere else have thrived. While others journey across vast oceans to reach its shores. And yet the Choco remains largely unexplored, with countless species still to be discovered under the canopy of this forgotten forest.